Hey guys, welcome back to more AFK Arena. In today's video, this is take 2 of this video. I recorded the whole thing but realized the face cam was off and also realized that no one would hang around if they couldn't see my face. So we are doing take number 2. But big shout out in this video goes to, I suck at names, Maymenetsis. I apologize if I murdered that, but big shout out. I love these posts that people do on Reddit. Be sure to jump over. I'll leave a link in the description. Upvote it because this deserves support. I love seeing people put effort in. This is their first post, so definitely get around it and show some support. And before we go any further, I just wanted to give the shout outs that are at the bottom of this post, including Arty, Alpatix, I don't know, I suck at names, guys. I suck reading names and trying to say them. We got Linker in there, M5WJI8, I don't know if that's meant to say something. Once again, I suck at this stuff. Emotep or Emotep, and Zappy Slenderman. Shout out to all those guys. I wanted to give all the credits out at the very start. And I think they were people that either helped or, you know, they leached information off of to go and put this thing together. But it's really nice. Once again, get over there, show your support. So now, with all that out of the way, let's get into the video. And just quickly before we get into the video, I know I just said let's get into it, but now we're pausing, but there's a couple things. First thing is we did hit 130,000 subscribers, so a massive thank you to everyone. As always, we will be doing another $100 giveaway. Be subscribed, leave a comment, don't spam, multiple comments, not multiple entries. Do the draw in a community post about a week away. Anything I missed, look in the description, legally stuff is there. So that, and on top of that, the other thing that I wanted to mention, you guys might have noticed I haven't been uploading as frequently. I've still been trying to get at least a video out every day. But for the foreseeable future, I don't know how long, I may not be doing, I always try and do 2 uploads a day. That's just sort of like the routine that I got into. But lately we've been in a lockdown and now they are closing daycares. So I've been trying to spend more time helping the missus out with the kids. And now that they're closing daycares, I'm just gonna have to, because my missus, for her work, sometimes she has to do calls and stuff like that, and do it remotely, so I'll have to take the kids. So I will still be aiming for 1 video a day on the channel at least, but just if it's a bit slower, you guys know why. Also, I'm probably just going to postpone streaming until this stuff eases up, because it's just a really horribly shit time at the moment, when you got a 1 and a 3-year-old and you're in lockdown. They've closed parks, they've closed daycare, you can't really do anything, and they just go ballistic at home. So, you know, we're making do. So just that disclaimer out of the way as well. But now we can finally get into the content. Okay, so this post is a really nice post looking at like the core end game teams. Now, these are pretty much the teams that Arty listed off when I was having an interview with him, when we were doing that fun video a while back. He basically listed off these as the core teams. So this is a nice deeper look at these core teams. Also, which we'll talk about at the end, is like Celestial Hypergem priorities, because this sort of gives you a bit more of an insight into what you might want to build, and I have my own preferences on that if I was starting a fresh account that I wanted to play optimally. But anyway, the basics that we do have is the Thorin cheese. Now, the thing I like about this, when we look at the guide, and once again, this is linked in the description, you guys can go look at it more in depth if you want. In the first column, we do have the core members of the team. So anything that's core basically is needed for the team to function, and then the flex spots can all be played around, but then they've got a sort of optimal team. The thing I like about this is we've got a minimal investment column, and then we do have an optimal investment column depending. I just realized I couldn't speak just then. Depending on where you're at, and then obviously we've got the basic summary of it as well in the info section. We got some substitutes that we can use as well. So let's kick it off with the Thorin cheese. It stood the test of time, really. The Thorin cheese, something I've never really built on any of my accounts because I just don't enjoy Thorin. I don't like the retries required for this. Thorin cheese is basically have Thorin, have a bunch of units that can group the enemies up, and away you go. So that's pretty much the gist of it. We've got the Lawson for the Link. Link's always really handy in the Thorin teams, depending on the enemy team. And this is always going to be heavily dependent on what the enemy team is. But basically, Thorin, get them grouped up, have Thorin at 30 and 3, and you just cheese the world, basically. As it states, you just need to do lots of retries with this. Thorin cheese often takes lots of retries, and that's why I don't really enjoy it myself, but it is nonetheless a great team. Moving on from that, we have the Ulna and Graveborn, which is basically an Ulna and Grizzle core. Grizzle, since his buff, has just become an absolute maniac in campaign as well, and he's really strong. And having Ulna with him obviously gives him that immunity to damage, which helps him at the start of the battle as well, lets him ramp up, and then away you go. So I've seen lots of different formations of this, using a hell of a lot of different units. Like this one says, Silas, Tassie, and Damon. You can literally use anything, like a bit of control and basically a bit of control, bit of sustain, and you're pretty much set for this team. Ulna and Grizzle, really incredible core. Then we go on to what is currently my favorite team in the game, purely because of the name, and that is the Charizard. Now, to be fair with this team, I don't think Charizard is needed for it. I think the main core of the team is Mahira, Rowan, and Rosaline. Like, that can be like a very core team. But you can swap out members of that for Charizard as well. But for the sake of this one, we are calling it Charizard, so we have to have the Charizard in the team. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense. And if we didn't have the Charizard in the team and we couldn't call it Charizard, then it would be really boring. So you must build Charizard for this team. Not really, but Charizard is a really nice synergy for it and works really well. Like I said, you can get away with like Rowan, Rosaline, and like Raku as your core. But, you know, Charizard extending that duration of things is definitely fantastic. And Charizard's just good in general, in my opinion. And he's seeing more use. So that team basically just CC the enemy for the whole battle, and away you go. Anything that has CC immunity and stuff you might struggle a little bit against, but pretty solid team. Past that, we do have the Lucretia cheese. Now, this one is focusing on the 5-pool Lucretia cheese. We do have a 5-pool down here. Keep in mind, there is 6 teams here, so at most you're fighting 5 different enemy teams. So, you know, you can play around with what you want on the 5-pool side of things. Sometimes you can get away with Lucretia in a cheese that doesn't have the 5-pool, so then that'll open you up to the 5-pool for another team. But this one, very basic. Iron's Chicken, Sophia, and Leica. You get the haste, you get the 5-pool, and you get the pyramid, which really helps. The pyramid really helps in the Lucretia cheese, in my opinion. So really strong. Lots of different options. The Brutus there for one. You can take the Brutus in, give him the barricade. Might sometimes help Lucretia survive when she would have otherwise died, and then away you go. There's a few different options, but pretty much Lucretia, we all know what she does. She dominates. Then we have the Irons comp, the core members of Irons and Albedo. I just think the more dimensions you put in this, the better, because they are getting that buff. And I feel like Merlin was a great addition to this team, sort of removed the need for other units from other teams like Rowan and stuff like that. So now you can just do Albedo front row, and then you have Arthur front row with Irons and Merlin behind, and then you can put whatever you want in the last spot, and you're pretty set to get some victories. That is the Irons comp. Really solid. And then we have the Queen 5-pool. Now, the Queen 5-pool, there's a lot of different 5-pool options you can do. I like the Queen 5-pool just because I like Queen altogether. You can also do just Chicken Queen as not a bad comp, but it's not as prevalent. But I think they do say it in here as well, that the Sophia gets taken out for the Queen in this team because the pyramid doesn't offer enough to the 5-pool. Like, the pyramid's still really nice on the Lucretia team, but in the 5-pool, getting the stun lock from Queen is going to be more beneficial than having the Sophia in there. Keep in mind, you can use a lot of other things in this team as well, but really solid with the Queen. So that is your basic formations. And like I said, if you guys want to read more in depth into these, go ahead. The other one that I'll leave linked in the description, which is, how old's this one? 7 months old, but this is Arty's one from way back, where he goes into all the endgame teams from then. If you're looking at a different team that maybe not be in like the top list, check this out. He's just got so many good teams in here that, you know, depending on your deficit, if you're not pushing the peak, you can have a lot of fun with some of these teams. So definitely check out Arty's post as well. It's a bit older, but it's still fantastic and very relevant. And it has like a million descriptions and pages for other characters. So check that one out as well. But what I wanted to say about this is it really gives you an idea of where the Celestial and Hypergenes are at in the meta. Now, Zolrath is one I'm a big fan of at the moment, but for me, Lucretia, if I was starting a fresh account, I'm just looking at Lucretia, always max Lucretia out. Then I'd probably look at doing Charizard to Mythic, hopefully pull a Mahira or get her from an event in the meantime. And then by the time you get the Charizard to Mythic, you've got that team set up. Keeping in mind, you can't do the Mahira team without Charizard, but hey, you can't call it Charizard, so you got to build him. So Khazad to Mythic is a very low investment on summons to get a very functional team. And then obviously we have Ulna. Now, you can do it whichever order, but if I was doing a fresh account right now, more so because I'd have fun building Khazad on it, I'd probably do Lucretia, then Khazad to Mythic, then Ulna to Ascended. If I didn't have a Mahira at all, I'd pick up one copy of her before I went on to Ulna. But that's just me personally. If you're one of those people just going Lucretia then Ulna, perfectly fine. But as you can see, they're the only ones that are really core in these endgame teams at the moment. But you can sub out and you can use a lot of the Celestials and Hypergenes to quite good use. You look at things like Mezoth can come in really clutch in certain situations where you need a really thick tank. Zolrath can be used in so many teams. I think he's actually fantastic. I think you can use Zolrath to actually slow the entry of enemy floras so that a Thalia can not go down and stuff like that. There's a lot of different things, but as a core, those three pretty solid. But that pretty much covers this video. Once again, a big shout out to May Menezes for the post. It's their first post, so once again, get over there, pump it up, give it the likes, and show your support, because like I said, it's not easy to put these things together. That's why I make videos, because this would be too hard for me to make. I'm not a visual person. I can't do this kind of stuff, so definitely get around and show them the support. Once again, be subscribed, leave a comment. We'll do the draw about a week away. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have an awesome day, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.